Welcome back to the apartments. This episode 15. We're talking about NBA, the big trade that happened over the week, the big three that finally got to play last night. KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. It did good, even though they came up short against a decent Cavs team. I feel like Saxton's put the team on his back last night, had 42, looked like Superman out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is Cleveland back, or was it too soon?
I kind of think it's too soon to say if Cleveland's really back. I feel like they're in the rebuilding stage still. You know, going with Colin. They just got Jarrett Allen from the Brooklyn Nets. I forgot his. Oh, they got Andre Drummond still. You feel me? They're putting pieces together, but they're not fully there. I say give them probably about 2-3 years, and then we're talking not the old Cavs with LeBron and Kyrie, but we're talking about a playoff team that could possibly make a push.
Well, we know any team that got LeBron ain't going. Like once LeBron leave, that's dead.
Yeah.
I feel like I agree with Blake on this one. I think it's too soon. Like you said, they have pieces they're building around, but Colin Sexton had a unreal game last night. 42 points, career high. I just don't see him dropping numbers like that every game to carry them like that. So I feel like it's too soon. Once he gets a couple more pieces in there, but right now I feel like it's too soon to say that they're back.
All right, how do y'all feel about the big three playing together for the first time? How did y'all feel about it yesterday?
It was amazing. You know, seeing the way that they played together, like from James Harden coming from Houston, and he knows that he wants to get out there. He knows he can't win a championship with that team. I feel like this necessarily might not be the best move in ways of his playing style and how he needs the ball in his hands, but for them three to be together, they can do what they need to do. Like they got great ISO, they can space the floor. When you take out Jarrett Allen in that trade and you move KD to the 5, and you got Jeff Green out there, and you got Joe Harris, you got 3-point shooters, and the only thing that I think can just make this not work is their ability to share the ball. And when I say that, I don't mean looking at the stats at the end of the game and seeing that they got assists. I'm saying, like, throughout the whole game, are they passing up open shots? They're passing up great shots to get even better shots.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I feel like, honestly, in the long run, I feel like one of them has to go. And I think it's going to end up being Kyrie. I think they need more depth. They need more role players if they actually want to get to the NBA Finals and win. Because you look at a great Celtics team. They have starters and they have bench and role players. So you go up against that in the playoffs after a strong regular season, you're talking about a bunch of games being played where you're worn out and you're down. So that's what I really think is going to end up happening.
I don't feel that way. I feel like they have to find a defensive player. Everybody said Jordan's gonna be like DeAndre Jordan, but at the same time he's up in age now.
Yeah.
But that's all. That team's a GOAT team right there. They just have to find that defensive edge because we know they can score. Prime game, the Milwaukee game, Kyrie didn't play, but soon as James or KD got the ball, bucket. You said role players, right? What about Joe Harris? He's a role player.
He definitely is a role player, but he's in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. I'm saying when you take KD, Kyrie, and James off the floor, what guys are you naming that can come in and keep their team, keep the lead, or get on a run so when Kyrie and them come back in the game, they making plays, they doing what they got to do. I feel like they just don't got enough right there.
Kind of like the Montez Harrells of the world.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Chris with a K, you agree with Blake. You feel like they need more role players to solidify that team.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they need more role players. As you can see from the stats from last night, the big three, they dropped upwards of 90. They ended with 135. They didn't have much bench scoring. You know, I think the next leading scorer was like 13 from James Harden. James Harden, dropped 21 triple-double. You know, KD had upwards of
38.
30, 38.
Kyrie had 37.
Kyrie had 37, and the sole reason why they didn't win that game is because they didn't have depth. And like I said before, I feel like the Nets would be a really good team with like the Montez Harrells of the world. You know, they had a good player in LeVert who was a good role player, came in, did what he needed to do, got rid of him. You know, Jared Allen, a really good defensive player, got rid of him. So I do feel like the three of them won't work together. Do I think it would be Kyrie that leaves? I don't know, but we'll see.
I really think they can work together, man. As long as that chemistry there, and like you said, maybe more players get involved, that team's dangerous in the East, man. That team could knock off of Milwaukee. That team could knock off of Boston in the Game 7 if that team really come together. Like, right now, that's the big bad wolf of the East right now.
I couldn't agree with that. Only because you're talking about the Raptors that just brought back Van Fleet. You're talking about the Celtics, and you're talking about the Bucks. You're like, there's teams there that just have too much, and if Giannis can find his 3-point game consistently, it is a force to be reckoned with. If you go down the stats from last night, James Harden, KD, Kyrie, Jeff Green, and Joe Harris all played over 40 minutes. Harden topped it off with 51 minutes, then followed by Kevin Durant with 50 and Kyrie with 48. We're talking about the regular season here. They shouldn't have to necessarily play that many minutes. And you talk about the next closest, the DeAndre Jordan as a starter, only 24 minutes. The next two closest people were 12 minutes and 11 minutes coming off the bench. And the last one was 7 minutes, and he didn't score at all. Then you had the person with 12 minutes, I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's like Luau Kabar or something.
Yeah.
And
He had two. What do you have? He had one.
He had 0 points, 0 for
Zero.
6. And Joe Harris played 42 minutes, went 2 for 10.
Yeah.
Those things can't happen, and you can tell. Granted that they went into double overtime against a Cavs team, you got to think about the other great teams that don't have the depth that the Cavs do, that can play those long minutes. You see, Colin Sexton,
22. Everybody else was 15. Somebody, I think it's like 21.
25, yeah,
That's a
25.
big difference, Blake.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Now, granted, I'm not taking away from their scoring. Now, the Nets, they're going to get theirs.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying no matter if they drop 30, 30, and 30, that's 90 points. You got to count on these guys that are their role players to get buckets. You look at my team, the Clippers. Okay, for instance, you take Kawhi, Paul George off the court. Now we're talking the bench. We got Marcus Morris coming off the bench. We got Reggie Jackson. We got Lou Williams. We got pieces that can come. We got Luke Kennard. You feel me? We got Batum in the starting lineup that could potentially be switched out with Marcus Morris, but Marcus Morris wants to be in the bench role. He wants to be there coming off the bench, electrifying, lighting things up. You got to have that to be an NBA caliber championship team.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You said Clippers, you named y'all bench. Only one I know that's solidified and I know comes to the bench, he gonna get his bucket is Lou. Everybody else, I don't know too much of that, but I know Lou gonna get his buckets, and Lou proved that to me last season in the playoffs when he came off the bench and had 38 points like he was a starter.
But that's the thing, though. Honestly, Lou Williams didn't have a great playoffs last year. The bubble really messed with his head. He went to the strip club.
The boys that hey, he's at Magic City. Hey, stop playing. But
They made jokes about it, but seriously, like, those things can't happen. And with him being 6th man of the year previously, and Montrezl winning it this past year, now he's on the Lakers, Lou Will didn't have a great effect. He wasn't shooting. He didn't, in a 3-game stretch, he didn't make no 3-point shots. And that just simply can't happen. And that's not, I'm not going to say that's the reason he's the sole reason we lost.
Oh, no,
but,
PG.
Yeah, not being able to close out, not hitting our shots, that's the real reason we blew that 3-1 lead to Denver. And I'm just saying, honestly, in the league we play in, if you don't got role players, you're not going to win. Now, And I'm talking about against the top tier teams. That's the biggest thing. You feel me? Because the Lakers, we all know, we've seen what the Clippers can do to them. Now, granted, the Lakers, everybody else, they blow by, they destroy, they beat them because single-handedly nobody can match up with AD and LeBron. But when you get people that can, then it goes to the bench. Whose bench is going to outscore whose bench? And if we look at the depth, do the Lakers really have a bench now?
Yes. Let's not do that.
With losing Dwight Howard and JaVale, who are their big men? Who will be able to stretch the floor and guard?
They got a bench, bro. I ain't no Lakers fan, but I know the Lakers got a bench. We said Celtics got one. That's one of two teams I clearly know that they starters go out. It's like plug in. But I feel like it's hard in basketball to find bench players. Like these are just not players. Like, oh yeah, I plug him and he's gonna ball out. It takes.
Yeah, definitely. You see kind of nowadays the people that are bench players are kind of veterans. Mm-hmm. They're people that have been in the league, that know the game, that can come in and get you a solid 9, 12 points, and that's what sets aside being good from great. What you think about that, Chris?
I definitely agree with that. I feel like veteran players understand more that it is more than just being flashy, scoring, and being that starter. That, you know, the bench players is just as important as the starters. If the bench players don't come in and don't get buckets, they're not going to win a game. And you've seen that last night with the Nets. With the Nets, I feel like it's one of those things. Like all three of them got to be on. If one of them got an off night, it's with the way their depth is right now in their roster, they're not going to be able to win games because if your bench ain't putting down points, and you've seen it, all three of them went off, triple-double, 2 upper 30 games, and they still lost to a Cavs team that's not really respected in the league, if we're being honest. So, I mean, I definitely feel like bench players are just as important, and you really need those veteran guys coming off the bench and having that knowledge.
So I'm going to ask y'all this question. As a coach, if y'all was ever a coach in the NBA, would you want to create your bench before creating your starting lineup or the other way around?
Honestly, you have to. I mean, of course, you got to build with your starters. So I feel like in a key situation, you bring in starters, you solidify your 5 that you know you went out there day in and day out. That's going to be your starting lineup potentially come playoff time. But I feel like the bench can't be left out in that discussion. I feel like when you trade for your superstars, like, you have to understand that you can't, some players, you can't just give up everything for. Because at the end of the day, you don't know how long they really want to be there. You don't know. They could just be coming just to try to get a quick ring. And when you trade all your assets for that player, are you thinking about a win-now organization, or are you thinking about future and building a team that can compete for years?
Yeah, that's got me thinking, too. Like, I feel like the Suns, you know, one of the best things they did was making that move for Chris Paul. It's just like, it's just something about having Chris Paul on that team. Like, he's not your prolific scorer. You know, he's not your over-athletic guy, but it's just the things the thing he does when he's on a team is just insane. Like, you see everybody else around him start getting better.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to get you points. He's going to get you ball movement. You know, he's going to play every game with his heart out. And I feel like those are the type of players that are good to kind of like build around in a sense, because you already know what they're about. You know what I mean? These you know, I want to say like fancy players or like these high-end players, like, okay, they have a season where they go absolutely ballistic, but like, do you really know, you know, what they're about? Do you know what they're going to get you day in and day out? And
the crazy thing is, I don't mean to cut you off, Chris, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
The crazy thing is about that we've seen that. You see, we look back and we see Linsanity. We see how Jeremy Lin performed, and we see how his breakout year. We see Isaiah Thomas. Granted, these are still good players, but for them to have that breakout year and then they get all the hype, and then now teams are attracted to them, they want them. And then when you get these guys and they don't play the same way that they did in their MVP kind of year, you're disappointed because especially if they didn't just come from the free agency, if you went out and you traded assets from your team that was already good, but you felt like you could make it better by getting that player and they don't live up to the expectations, it hurts your team and it hurts the things that you do, especially if you're trading away future draft picks.
Back on the Chris Paul topic, I feel like Chris Paul, he's at that point now where he's a Yoda to the youth. He like I did everything. I played. I'm a vet. I know how this game goes. So I feel like when Chris Paul go to any team that got young talent, he's a mentor to it. That's why I liked him going to the Suns. I'm like, okay, you got Devin Booker over there. We know he a baller. Now you finna tell me you finna get this man some knowledge, some like veteran knowledge. Listen here, man. Booker gonna be like that in a couple of seasons. So I feel like. Now, we got same thing with LeBron. I think LeBron the same way as well. LeBron, he's that vet now. When he go to teams, he be like, I'm going to do what I got to do, but, hey, man, y'all ball out. Now, I ain't saying the Lakers, they ain't there yet because I don't trust Kyle Kuzma as the young guy, but he's going to get up with knowledge. Be like, hey, when I'm gone, hey, man, you can't say I leave you with nothing. Same thing with Kyrie. He went to Cleveland. Look, Kyrie, this how you do it. Next when Kyrie was leaving, he go to Boston. It's like, you feel me? Like, so it's like I just feel like the old, not all the old heads, but some of them are just now becoming mentors to the game. Like, my time coming, so I'm gonna just give you the knowledge, and you take the lead by storm.
I feel like with T, that goes back to what I said like about the veterans, and you bring those guys in. Some of them start, some of them are role players for you, but they all do the same thing. They all bring that knowledge of the game. They all help the younger guys get in position to become these superstars. And you see it a lot around the league. You see Kawhi. You see the group that he was in. You see he won a chip with the Spurs and having Greg Popovich as a coach and being with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan. You see those guys be able to teach him different aspects of the game that he can use, and now he's one of those superstar players. Now, you go back to LeBron. Like, LeBron had vets, but LeBron came straight out of high school. So LeBron is hands down better than the guys that have been teaching him, but at the same time, he's used what they have taught him and applied it to his game to make him even better. No matter where you are, no matter what level you are, you can always be coached. And I feel like that is a key to being successful in the NBA or any league. You have to be able to trust your vets and listen to them and be able to take the knowledge that they give you.
In anything in life, you always want to be teachable. I feel like as a person, that could be your worst downfall, feeling like you know everything.
Yep.
Ain't no way, bro. You always got to be ready. You always got to be ready to learn something. But speaking on like teachable moments, the rookie from Golden State, Wiseman, him and Draymond, they had a little conversation. Draymond was like, hey, I try to pass you the ball. You was open. If you open, I'm going to get it to you. Just be ready. So it's like it's always there.
It's always those good teaching moments. You was about to say something, Chris?
I was just going to say, like, I feel like that's a problem with, like, a lot of people is, like, a lot of people believe that you can only get coached by somebody who has the title coach.
Yeah.
And people just need to be open-minded. Like, people's been in situations that you've not necessarily been in. And it's always a key thing to listen to those veteran guys. So,
all right, y'all boys, about to wrap it up. Y'all all, hey, hit the like, comment, subscribe button, hit that post notification button. Hey, man, y'all boys tag your Instagram, your Twitter, and tell the people get at you.
Follow me on IG, Jenkins Blake 10.
follow me on IG, Chris Go Loopy, Chris with a K.
Appreciate you having me, Chris.
No problem. Like I said, man, this the best podcast in the apartment.
Yes,
See y'all
sir.
See y'all next
The
time.
apartment.
Fight the wrong.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody talking about